Someone who truly values you may keep their distance, and at first it can feel like rejection. You may look at their silence, their absence, their hesitation, and think, if I mattered, they would come closer. If they cared, they would not step back. If I was important, they would not make me feel so far away. But sometimes distance is not the opposite of love. Sometimes distance is what happens when someone feels something they do not know how to carry. When a person truly values you, your presence does not touch them lightly. It reaches places inside them they may have spent years avoiding. It awakens emotions they cannot easily explain. It makes them feel seen, exposed, affected, and responsible in ways that feel unfamiliar. And for some people, being deeply moved by someone is not comforting at first. It is frightening, so they step back. Not always because they want to lose you. Not always because they stopped caring. Not always because you mean little to them. Sometimes they step back because you mean too much. And too much feeling can make a guarded heart panic. This is the part many people misunderstand. They think value always moves forward. They think care always reaches out. They think if someone truly values them, that person will always know exactly what to do. But human emotions are not always that clean. Some people value deeply and still freeze. Some people care intensely and still retreat. Some people feel the weight of your importance so strongly that they need distance just to understand themselves. So before you decide their distance means you are worthless to them, look deeper. Sometimes a person does not move away because you are easy to forget. Sometimes they move away because being close to you makes it impossible for them to hide from what they feel. When someone truly values you, your presence can make them feel emotionally exposed. Not because you are doing anything wrong, not because you are asking for too much, but because something about you reaches past their defenses and touches a place they usually keep hidden, and that can scare them. Some people are comfortable with desire, attention, attraction, and light connection. They know how to flirt. They know how to talk. They know how to enjoy closeness when it does not demand too much from their heart. But when a connection becomes deeper, when it begins to feel real, when your presence starts affecting their thoughts, their moods, their choices, their silence, suddenly they do not feel in control anymore. That is when distance begins. They may not even understand why they are doing it. One moment they feel drawn to you, and the next moment they feel the need to pull away. One moment they want to be close, and the next moment they become quiet, careful, unavailable, not because their feelings disappeared, but because those feelings became too honest. Vulnerability feels different to a guarded person. To them, needing someone feels dangerous. Missing someone feels like weakness. Wanting to be understood feels like losing power. So instead of opening their heart, they create space. Instead of saying, "You matter to me," they act distant. Instead of admitting, "I am afraid of what I feel," they hide behind silence. But distance does not always mean emptiness. Sometimes it means they are overwhelmed by the truth of their own emotions. Sometimes they keep away because being near you makes them feel too much, too deeply, too clearly. And when someone is not used to that kind of emotional exposure, stepping back can feel like the only way to breathe. Someone who truly values you may keep their distance because they know they are confused. And when a person has enough awareness to recognize their own confusion, they may choose distance instead of dragging you into their emotional storm. This can be painful to understand because from your side, their distance feels cold. It feels unfair. It feels like they are making a decision without explaining it. You may wonder why they do not simply come closer, speak clearly, or give you the reassurance you need. But sometimes they cannot give clarity because they do not have it inside themselves yet. They may care about you deeply and still not know what they are ready for. They may feel drawn to you and still be afraid of commitment. They may miss you and still not trust themselves to show up consistently. They may want you in their life, but know that wanting is not the same as being emotionally prepared. And if they truly value you, that matters to them. Because a careless person will keep taking from your heart while offering you confusion. A selfish person will pull you close whenever they feel lonely and push you away whenever responsibility appears. But someone who values you may step back because they do not want to become the reason you keep questioning yourself. They know half presence can hurt. They know mixed signals can damage trust. They know that coming close while still being emotionally unstable may give you hope they are not yet able to protect. So they create distance, not because you are not worth choosing, but because they do not want to choose you from an unhealed place. Not because you are easy to leave, but because they understand that if they come closer before they are ready, they may hurt the very person they never wanted to wound. Someone who truly values you may keep their distance because being close to you makes them feel how much they could need you. And for a guarded person, that is terrifying. They may be used to handling life alone, controlling their emotions, depending on no one, never showing too much, never asking for too much, never letting anyone become too important. Then you appear, and suddenly something shifts. Your presence calms them in a way they did not expect. Your voice reaches them. Your attention softens them. Your absence bothers them more than they want to admit. They begin to notice that you are not just someone they like. You are someone who affects them, someone whose energy changes their mood, someone whose distance makes them restless. That kind of attachment can feel dangerous to a person who built their identity around independence, so they step back before the need becomes too visible. They create space before you realize how deeply they are affected. They act composed because inside they feel exposed. They may even convince themselves they are only being careful, only being rational, only protecting their peace. But underneath that distance is often a fear they do not want to name. What if I need this person more than I am ready to admit? Because needing someone means risking loss. It means giving another person the power to affect your inner world. It means admitting that your heart is no longer untouched. And some people would rather seem distant than feel dependent. So do not always read their distance as proof that you do not matter. Sometimes it is proof that you matter in a way they cannot control. Sometimes they are not running from you. They are running from the version of themselves that appears when they are close to you. Softer, more open, more attached, and more afraid of losing what they have found. Someone who truly values you may keep their distance because they know they cannot give you what you deserve right now. And that kind of distance is painful, but it is not always cruel. Sometimes it is the only honest thing a person knows how to do when their heart wants closeness, but their life, their fear, or their emotional state cannot support it. Because real value creates responsibility. When someone does not value you, they do not worry about what their inconsistency does to you. They take your attention when they want it. They return when they feel lonely. They disappear when things become too serious. They give you small pieces of affection and expect you to survive on almost nothing. But someone who truly values you feels the weight of your heart. They know you deserve more than uncertainty. They know you deserve presence, honesty, effort, and emotional safety. They may not say this out loud, but they understand that coming close without being able to stay could hurt you more than distance ever could. So instead of giving you half love, they hold themselves back. This does not mean their distance is easy to accept. It does not mean you should wait forever. It does not mean you should romanticize someone who cannot meet you. But it does mean that sometimes silence comes from restraint, not indifference. Sometimes the person stays away because they know they are not ready to love you cleanly. And that awareness matters. They may want you, they may miss you, they may think about you more than you know. But wanting someone is not the same as being able to show up for them with consistency. So they choose distance not because your love has no value, but because your love has too much value to be treated carelessly. Someone who truly values you may look quiet on the outside, but inside they are not always at peace. Their silence may seem simple to you. It may look like they have made a choice, like they are calm, detached, unaffected. But silence is not always emptiness. Sometimes silence is the place where a person is fighting a battle they do not know how to explain. They may want to reach out, but fear what reaching out will awaken. They may miss you, but not know what to do with that missing. They may care, but feel ashamed of how unprepared they are. They may know you deserve clarity, yet still feel unable to give it. And so they stay silent, not because nothing is happening inside them, but because too much is happening at once. This is the conflict. One part of them wants closeness. Another part wants control. One part wants to tell you the truth. Another part is afraid of being vulnerable. One part knows your value. Another part fears the responsibility that comes with truly honoring it. So they remain still, and from the outside, stillness can look like indifference. But inside, there may be desire, fear, regret, longing, pride, guilt, and tenderness all moving in different directions. They may replay conversations. They may wonder how you are. They may think about what they should have said. They may feel the urge to return, then talk themselves out of it before you ever know. This does not excuse silence that hurts you, but it explains why distance is not always simple. Sometimes a person keeps away because they are not ready to face the truth of what they feel. And when someone truly values you, that truth does not disappear just because they are silent. It stays with them, quietly pressing on the places they are still afraid to open. Someone who truly values you may step back, but they do not always stop paying attention. They may become quiet. They may reduce contact. They may act as if they are focused on their own life. But somewhere beneath that distance, a part of them still notices you. They notice your absence. They notice when your energy changes. They notice when you become quieter, stronger, colder, happier, or harder to reach. They may not comment. They may not ask directly. They may not reveal how much they are still aware of you. But when someone truly values you, they do not erase you from their inner world just because they are not standing beside you. This is why they may still check on you in subtle ways. They may watch from the edges. They may remember details. They may ask about you indirectly. They may appear when something reminds them of you. They may stay silent, but still feel the movement of your life from a distance. And that kind of care is often hidden, because admitting they still care would mean admitting the distance is not as clean as it looks. It would mean admitting that you still affect them. It would mean admitting that stepping back did not make them free from the connection. So instead of speaking, they observe. Instead of coming close, they remain aware. But awareness is not nothing. When someone is truly indifferent, they do not keep emotional track of you. They do not feel the shift when you pull away. They do not wonder whether you are okay. They do not carry your presence quietly in the background of their day. So do not assume that distance always means they stop caring. Sometimes distance only changes the way care appears. It becomes quieter, more controlled, more hidden. But if you still matter to them, they will feel your presence even from far away. And sometimes, the person who says the least is the one still noticing more than you know. Sometimes someone has to step away from you to understand the weight of your presence. When you are close, they may take the connection for granted. They may think they can control it. They may believe they can keep you at the edge of their life without feeling the cost of your absence. But distance reveals what closeness can hide. When you are no longer as available, something inside them begins to notice the space you used to fill. The conversations are not the same. The days feel different. Other people do not reach the same place. The silence they thought would protect them begins to show them how much of you had become part of their emotional world. This is often when realization begins. They may not admit it immediately. They may not come running back. They may still fight their feelings, still protect their pride, still pretend they are fine. But internally, they start comparing life with you to life without you. They begin to understand that your presence was not ordinary. Your warmth was not easily replaced. Your energy was not something they could simply forget. And sometimes this realization can only happen through absence, because when someone is afraid of feeling deeply, they may need distance to hear the truth clearly. Closeness can overwhelm them. Your presence can make them defensive. But your absence can make them honest. It can show them what they miss, what they regret, what they still feel, and what they were too afraid to value when it was right in front of them. So if someone truly values you, their distance may not be the end of their care. It may be the place where they finally begin to understand it. Not all distance destroys love. Sometimes distance removes the noise. Sometimes it strips away pride. Sometimes it teaches a person that what they walked away from was not pressure, not confusion, not weakness, but something rare they were not ready to recognize. There is a difference between someone who is distant because they are conflicted and someone who is distant because they simply do not care. And if you do not understand this difference, you may either hold on too long to someone empty or give up too soon on someone who is still emotionally affected by you. Indifference feels hollow. When someone is indifferent, there is no emotional tension, no inner struggle, no quiet awareness, no unfinished energy between you. They do not soften when you appear. They do not react when you pull away. They do not care whether you understand them or not. Their absence feels clean, cold and final because nothing inside them is reaching back toward you. But distance with value feels different. It feels like silence that still has weight. It feels like something unsaid sitting between you. It feels like a person who tries to stay away, yet somehow still responds to your presence. They may not speak openly, but their energy changes. They may not come close, but they still notice. They may act controlled, but there is something unresolved beneath the surface. That is why you must look beyond the distance itself. Do not only ask, are they close? Ask, is there still care behind the space? Do not only ask, are they speaking? Ask, does the silence feel empty, or does it feel full of what they cannot say? Because some people leave emotionally before they ever leave physically, and some people remain emotionally tied to you, even when they are standing far away. This does not mean you should wait forever for someone who cannot show up. But it does mean distance is not always the same as indifference. Indifference erases you. Distance with value still carries your imprint. Indifference closes the door without looking back. Distance with value keeps the door closed because opening it would mean facing feelings they are not ready to admit. Someone who truly values you may keep their distance, but they do not erase you. They may become quiet. They may step away. They may act like they are trying to move through life without looking back. But if you truly mattered to them, your presence does not disappear from their inner world just because they are not standing close enough for you to see it. This is the quiet truth about distance. A person can pull back physically and still carry you emotionally. They can stop texting and still think of what they would say. They can avoid your eyes and still feel the weight of your absence. They can convince themselves they are doing the right thing, yet still feel something inside them tighten when they realize you are no longer reaching for them. Because real value leaves a trace. It stays in the way they remember your voice. It stays in the moments they compare without meaning to. It stays in the quiet awareness of how rare your presence was. They may not confess it. They may not be ready to return. They may not know how to repair what distance has created. But someone who truly valued you does not simply forget the place you held inside them. Still, you must remember this. Their distance is not your assignment to suffer. You do not have to chase someone just because they care silently. You do not have to wait endlessly for a person who cannot meet you openly. You do not have to turn their inner conflict into your burden. Their feelings may be real, but real feelings still need courage, honesty, and action to become love you can actually live in. So let this be the final understanding. Someone who values you may step back because they are afraid, unready, conflicted, or overwhelmed, but they do not erase you. They do not become untouched by your absence. They do not fully release what your presence awakened in them, and if they ever find the courage to come closer, it will be because distance taught them what closeness once meant.